Video, please.
What's that?
Let me just start my video, please.
Your video?
Yeah, I'm just going to record this interaction.
Okay. I need your license and registration.
What makes you believe that I need that to travel from point A to point B?
Because you have no license on your no license plates on your vehicle, sir.
Would you like to see my paperwork?
Yes, I would. I asked for it 2 seconds ago.
That's not what I have for you, sir.
Okay.
I have here the definitions from the Motor Vehicle Code. I have the Supreme Court decisions and everything you need here to understand that I don't need a license, registration, or any documentation to travel from point A to point B. It is a right that has been preserved by the Supreme Court and the law of the land.
Okay. Sir, in order to drive in Colorado, you need to have license.
It's not driving. The definition says right there, sir, driving is doing commerce where you're employed on the road.
ID?
I don't need to present ID unless I'm in the commission of a crime, sir. I have not committed any crime.
You violated traffic law in the state of Colorado.
The definitions are right there, sir. If you'd like to go to court, we can handle it.
I need your ID, okay? I need your license, insurance, registration. You're operating a motor vehicle.
Did you even look at my paperwork at all?
Sir, I'm looking at your paperwork.
Did you read the definitions? The Motor Vehicle Code definition is in there. It says driving is doing commerce on the roadway. I am not doing commerce. I am not employed.
You start another.
If you could please get a supervisor out here, I'd appreciate it, sir.
Okay, do me a favor and then turn the car off then. I'll get a supervisor out here for you. Okay?
Oh, I'm not going anywhere, sir.
Okay, can you just turn the car off for me then?
Am I obligated to turn my car off? I'm not intending to go anywhere. I'd like to handle this matter and settle it right now. I have no reason to leave. Why would I do that?
Okay. I'm getting another unit out here per your request.
Sure.
Okay. All I asked was to see your license, insurance, registration.
I'm telling you that I don't have such because I'm not required to by law. It's been upheld. It's been upheld by the
state of Colorado. You are required to have a license, insurance, registration.
It's federally been upheld.
Motor vehicle on state roads.
The definition is right there from the Motor Vehicle Code. Driving is defined as doing commerce on the roadway employed by somebody. I am not employed to do commerce on the roadway. I am traveling in my private property from point A to point B, which, as it says in there, is my right to do so, upheld many times in the Supreme Court.
Just hang out for a second.
Sure, no problem, bud. Just got stopped by one of the officers here, so I am recording. Yeah, we're gonna see how this goes. Gave him my paperwork, and yeah.
I'm gonna ask you one more time for your license, insurance, registration. Okay.
Sir, there's no circuitous route here. I'm telling you.
Can you at least tell me your first and last name and date of birth?
I don't believe that I'm obligated to give you any of that information unless I'm in the commission of a crime. If I'm wrong, please produce the law for me. I'm entitled to see the law if that's the law. This is nothing personal. I have no issue with you. I'm simply trying to abide by the law of the land and by the Motor Vehicle Code and by all the rights given to me in this country.
I don't know what Motor Vehicle Code you're following, but in the state of Colorado, you need to have a license, insurance, and registration to operate a motor vehicle on state roads.
Okay, can I give you the definitions of that by Black's Law's Dictionary? Operating a motor vehicle is defined
That's
in...
not the dictionary I follow, man.
Then you have a conflict of interest with the Supreme Court because the Supreme Court, which is the highest law of this land, follows Black's Law's Dictionary. So I'm not interested in contracting with you or following anything that you follow. Like I said, even in the Motor Vehicle Code, which you guys are following as a corporation, the Supreme Court is beyond that. But let's just take the Motor Vehicle Code. The definition of my understanding of a motor vehicle is a vehicle that is doing commerce on the roadway. It even gives definitions in the code. It says tractor, trailer, bus, or a taxi, right? Taxi driver, bus driver, truck driver. I am not a driver because I'm not transporting or in the act of trafficking any goods or peoples.
Let me ask you a question. What were you doing right there on Colfax then? Operating the motor vehicle. Would you consider yourself a driver?
No,
of a motor vehicle?
Absolutely not. A driver by definition. I understand there's a colloquialism that we don't understand here, or maybe they haven't told us or we don't understand, but the word driving by definition means you must be employed by somebody. So I was not driving. I was traveling in my private property from point A to point B, which, like I said, the Supreme Court has upheld many times. I have the right to do so. If I was, let's say, doing Uber or some form of hauling goods or services on the roadways, then yes, the government has a right to know that I can operate the roadway to do that business and then tax me, of course. But I'm not doing such. I'm traveling from point A to point B in property that I purchase privately and legally and lawfully.
Okay. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What is your name, man? Why do you not want to identify yourself?
I just believe that nothing personal to you. I have had some incidents in the past where any information that I give, as you know, can and will be used against me in a court. And I don't believe that I have any necessity to give any information.
You see my name. Right?
But you're required to produce your name because you are a government employee. It actually says I can ask you for 3 forms of ID, which you have to produce. You cannot ask me for, this is by my understanding of you guys' contractual law to uphold the Constitution and even the codes, quote unquote, of the state and the city. My understanding of that is I am not required to provide any of that information unless I'm being charged or you know, some kind of crime is suspected, which I don't believe.
You're being charged for violating traffic code right now.
If you wanna bring those charges, that's fine. But when we go to court and they convict me in the local court, I will go to Supreme Court and you will be held accountable and liable for those charges, just like a credit card. You cannot bring charges and not be held liable for them because the responsibility and onus is on the person bringing them. So I would hope that you'll be able to prove in a court of law, based on case law and everything else, that I don't have a right to not operate, see, this is the game. I don't have a right to take my private property from point A to point B, which like I said, the Supreme Court ruling is in that documentation I gave you. All the definitions are there. So I'm not coming from my own manifestation. I'm not coming from something that I want to be true or made up. I've read the definitions. I've gone through the case law. I've looked at the Supreme Court decisions. It's expressly stated in there. The law is expressed, not implied. This is my understanding of it. You know, I'm a man who does no harm, and that's how I live my life. I live my life by truth and doing no harm, the law of love. You know, I have no issues with you or anybody else, and I'm not in the doing anything wrong at this time. I've caused no loss, injury, or harm to anybody. I'm taking my property from point A to point B.
Do you live in Lakewood, Denver? Where do you live, man?
I would rather not answer any questions, sir.
Okay. Do you live in the state of Colorado?
I'd rather not answer any questions.
Okay. Well, you're operating a motor vehicle in the state
I'm not operating a motor vehicle. Motor vehicle is defined in the paperwork as a vehicle on the roadways doing commerce. This is not a commercial vehicle.
You're operating a light blue Nissan Maxima with no license plates.
I'm not operating it. I'm traveling from point A to point B.
At this time.
Then I guess we have a disagreement in the understanding. I presented you paperwork. You've presented me nothing other than your understanding. So my understanding is backed by definition, Supreme Court rulings, and the Motor Vehicle Code. You've given me nothing except what you believe to be true. So where can we go with this?
Statements that I've made to you are ones that are produced in the Colorado Revised Statutes.
Can you show them to me?
On traffic law.
Can you show them to me?
I can. I'm not gonna go grab the book right now and just open it up and scroll through the pages for you.
Well, I was kind enough to have all my paperwork and things in order and my understanding here to present to you.
You have not provided me with any proof of insurance, any driver's license, or any proof of
Sir,
registration.
The paperwork that I provided to you makes those things not applicable to me because I am not doing commerce on the roadway. This
provided me 3 printouts
of the definitions of the words in the Motor Vehicle Code and the Supreme Court ruling. Didn't you swear an oath to uphold the Constitution and the law of the land? The Supreme Court is the highest law in the land. So that one decision that I showed you should be enough for you to either go and look at what I'm presenting again and give a deeper, more detailed look at it, or to understand that we have no interaction right now. Because like I said, there's many Supreme Court cases on file. That is the law we're supposed to follow in this country. We can have disagreements in local court, but these have already been decided upon. The Supreme Court will hear my case as well if you guys bring charges, because I will take it there.
We will be bringing charges.
Sir, again,
for violating traffic law in the state of Colorado.
The word violation in law means to cause loss, injury, or harm. It also means to sexually advance on someone when it's unwanted. I did not do any of those things. So, you know, again, we have to get our words and terms in line with the definitions of what we all are agreeing on here is the English language. We cannot use words and not agree on the definitions. I'm not making up my own definitions. The state of Colorado is a whole other discussion. And furthermore, it doesn't even come into this because, like I said, any roadways federally, the people, a man, a woman has a right to use the public roadways to travel from point A to point B. It's been ruled on. You cannot have a government organization who's supposed to work for the people come in to tax the people to use what is the people's. That is fraud. You may disagree with me. I, however, have the truth, the definitions, the facts, and the case rulings on my side. So like I said, if you bring charges forth, I expect you to show up on the day of whatever the proceeding will be. And then I expect you to show up at the Supreme Court proceeding. And we will have a discussion in front of whoever needs to be there about what I have the right to do and not do. Since you seem to believe you have a right to stop me and take up my time and take a right off me, we'll have that discussion if that's what you choose to do. I don't believe you should, because I think by conversing with me, you can ascertain that I am an upstanding, intelligent individual who's out here doing no harm, and I have no, there's really no reason to have any issues with me.
Why is that?
Because like I said, and we can get into all other things. I don't know if you're interested in all that, but you see where our country's going, and what we're doing right here is part of the reason why. But I'm glad we're doing this, and I expected this, so it's not really an issue for me. I have to stand on what's true and what's right. I have to stand on my conviction, in my heart, and what the definitions and the understanding tells me. So that's all I'm attempting to do.
Well, I think we might have a misunderstanding upon definitions here.
Again, the Supreme Court, it's been the Supreme Court, so let's say we both didn't understand definitions. Supreme Court has heard all these cases, and the judges have ruled over and over again that the right of if you want, I can search them for you right now, the quotes, the right of the people to use the public roadways is an untaxable, uninfringible right. You cannot tax somebody, force them to get registration, force them to get insurance. You cannot force any of that. All interactions in this country are supposed to be voluntary. They're not supposed to be under coercion and duress. Do this or else, and you can't use fear and safety as a reason to take people's rights.
Okay.
Well,
my supervisor's here. If you said you wanted to talk to him.
I mean, again, it's more about what you plan on doing, because if you plan on moving forward contractually, then obviously he's going to be the one here to supervise that whole situation, and then he will be on record to go to court as well, being okay with the fact that he supervised you, stopping me, taking my time and my rights, and then telling me that I don't have a right to do what's already been ruled on I have a right to do.
Okay.
That's the only reason I want him here, so that we're all under the same understanding.
Sure.
Hi,
How you doing, sir?
Good. Hey, I'm Sergeant Valdez. I understand your sovereign stuff and everything and all that. What do you refer to be?
Yeah, I don't even.
Living man, or how do you?
I don't even like to get into the terms and
Sure,
labels.
no,
I'm just a man.
Yeah. Okay.
Just
The
like
living
you
man,
are.
or just the man. Or
Just a
however
man.
You want to do
Just
it.
like you are a man.
Understood.
You're a man. I'm a man.
Understood.
And from my understanding, again, like I told this man, was that
Sure.
I've done my research. I have a conviction in my heart.
Okay.
My mind and my logic aligns with that. Logic, morals, and ethics. This is private property. I purchased it legally and lawfully.
Understood.
And I'm taking it from point A to point B. And the Supreme Court has ruled that I do not need to register, license, or any of that unless I'm doing commerce on the roadways. I handed in the definitions, has all the definitions there, what's in the Motor Vehicle Code and what Black's Law says. That operating a motor vehicle is defined as doing commerce on the roadway.
I understand. So, sir, just so you know, obviously, we don't recognize that within our municipality laws.
It's common law.
And I understand the common law and stuff, but our laws are obviously not in tune with your common law and the way it's practiced, so the court's going to have to be the one to dispute those. Do you understand the reason he pulled you over?
Absolutely not.
Why? Okay.
Absolutely
Have
not.
you been told why you've been pulled over this afternoon?
He told me his perception, but I don't understand it at all.
Okay. And so we can help you understand the perception of why you're pulled over and what he told you. What did he specifically tell you?
He believes, like a lot of officers believe, that the common law, like you just said, does not apply to them. However, this is not my common law. Common law is the law of the land. It's backed by the Supreme Court and the Constitution.
What is the officer's common law perspective on why the stop was initiated for you?
Oh, I would have no idea, because common law is defined as loss, injury, or harm needing to take place in order to move forward. I did not do any of those things.
Okay.
So his corporate law or legal understanding would be that I am an employee of a corporation. I would assume this is understanding somewhere, because again, motor vehicle means a vehicle doing commerce on the roadway. Driver means someone employed by someone to do commerce on the roadway. The code even describes tractor trailer, taxi driver, or bus driver. That's why we use the term driver. Anybody who's behind this is not a driver. A driver is defined as someone employed to do commerce on the roadway. I am not that. I am a man taking my property from point A to point B.
So what is the reason for the stop today? No plates, okay? That's a common thing that we obviously enforce and do with our laws and what we believe in and what we have to do. So the probable cause exists for him, not with you, in your understanding, for him to go ahead and initiate a traffic stop Based on the plates.
What is his reason to believe that I'm driving this vehicle?
Well, you're operating the vehicle and driving it, and you were observed driving it. Whether you
I wasn't
believe-
driving. Driving is defined as commerce.
Driving
Can you
is
read the
you-
paper?
I understand your version of it.
No,
but
that's
our-
the
our version
definition
is-
by Black's Law Dictionary and the Motor
understand, but
Vehicle Code.
We don't follow that.
The Supreme Court does. So then
we're not the feds. We don't operate under the Supreme Court.
Yeah, but you swore an oath to uphold the law of the land and the
Sure,
Constitution. The
absolutely.
Supreme Court is the highest law of the
But
land.
ours is under a municipality, and ours is under the Jefferson County division. So you'd have to go to the Jefferson County for anything. Has he issued you any ticket or done anything?
No, sir.
Well, exactly. So we're in a common state here of just talking about the
Sure.
situation, and that's it. And you're being cordial, and you're
And that's a
expressing your
good thing
views.
because we
And
need
all.
to have these
Well,
discussions.
that's it. And so that's what he's discussing with
Sure.
you. So understanding your beliefs and what you think aren't necessarily ours, because what we have to practice a certain thing, there's an understanding there. I hope you know that. Obviously, we pulled you over because we don't have the same understanding of what your understanding is of the law. Do you understand that? As long as we have a common agreement on that, I'm good. You're going to have your definition of it is. We're going to have what our obligations are.
But what
Whether-
is yours based on?
So ours is based on Colorado revised statutes and traffic codes that we are to enforce. That's what ours is based
The term
on.
trafficking means to take goods from
And
one
I-
place to
I
another.
understand that-
That's why
I
drug
under-
trafficking is defined as
I
taking
understand
drugs
that-
from one
yeah,
place to the
I
other. I'm
understand.
not trafficking anything.
But by
I'm
our-
traveling, sir.
Listen, by our standards and our Colorado revised statutes, you are an operator of a vehicle operating a motor vehicle. This is a motor vehicle. And I could sit and I could have coffee with you, and I'd love going into this stuff. But I'm just telling you the way it is and how it works for us. And that's what he's trying to tell you is the reason why you were pulled over and all that stuff. And you said, I'm just a man, I appreciate that and stuff like that. If he's asking you for identification, you don't want to give it, I understand why you're not wanting to give it and why you believe that you don't have to give it and stuff. If he were to ask you, what would your name be given by the corporation or the land, as far as government, as what we see as government, would you have a legal name under that? What would be your false name that you be giving, which would be the government name that we go to that would be given to you? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
And if you're comfortable in providing that with him, that'd
Yeah,
be
no,
great.
I would-
That's what he wants.
Yeah,
You
I'd rather
understand
not.
what I'm
I'd
saying?
rather not provide anything because again, once I provide any kind of information, I'm contracting with him.
Understand.
And I would rather not contract with him. Again, this first of all, again, we can go back to you guys' rules. Those red and blue lights are not to be pulling people over. Those are emergency lights. They're to be used for people to move over so they can move past. Just by me pulling over, I have submitted to something that I know is incorrect because the purpose of those lights are emergency lights. They're not for pulling people over.
So let me
I
ask you-
did so because I understand that in
That's what I
today's
wanna ask
day and
you.
age,
Why did you
that
wanna
if I
pull
do
over?
not do that and I go like this and say,
Sure.
go ahead, which is what it actually tells you should do when a policeman pulls up behind you and the regulation says, oh, roll down your window, pull over, and wave him on. I did not do that because then he'll say, oh, you were trying to. I understand the psychology of how most officers think. I understand
You complied and you pulled over and stuff, and that's a start.
because I want this interaction.
Well, that's
I
great.
want the
And I
interaction one way or the
appreciate
other.
it.
We have to get it on record.
Have you interacted like this in a court of law already?
I would rather not get into that.
Understood, but I'm just, and if you have,
I have a lot of experience in a
Understood.
courtroom and with the material.
perfect. And so with that being said and stuff, I just want you, so we're not wasting time and being naive on
Sure.
understanding all this stuff. You're an educated man. You understand what your beliefs are. We have our certain rules that we have.
They're
to
not my.
adhere
Can
to
we
and
just
stuff.
say I don't mean to be. I'm not being a dick. They're not my belief, sir. It's
Well-
a knowing that I've come to based on eternal truth. This truth is not going to change
It's a
whether
belief if
you
hold it to
understand.
your heart.
It's a conviction.
practice.
It's a conviction. The same thing the court will have to use to
Absolutely.
either convict me or not
Absolutely.
because it rests in my heart and it cannot be changed by any other man's belief. A belief and a conviction are two very different things.
I understand. I
You know?
understand. And you hold it true to yourself.
Absolutely. I live by certain morals, logic, and ethics that I hold myself to
So you have a
at all
belief-
times.
You have a belief in the Constitution.
Not a belief. I have a knowing that the Constitution is codified based on universal law, that no man has the right to rule over any other man. That will always be a truth since the day we came here to
Understood.
the day we die, because it is illegitimate and is based on coercion, duress, and force.
So you have a knowing.
I have a knowing. It is unchanging. I am the same yesterday as I am today as I will be tomorrow.
Okay, and I hope you can respect that. Obviously, we have a knowing and understanding.
You have a
what our
belief
judge-
system that you
Absolutely.
are adhering to, and it is not in line with truth, sir.
It may not be in line with your truth. But
No,
it's in
the
line
truth
with
is
our truth.
unchanging. You have your perspective, I have my perspective.
Well, that's
by us,
just it. That's a difference.
by us
That's a
conversing,
difference.
we come to one truth.
Absolutely.
And
Well,
that truth is unchanging.
We might not come to an agreement on the truth, but we will come to a truth.
The
I
universe
agree with
has one truth that
I
we
agree
all
with
must
you on
come
that.
to understand. If we don't, we will suffer consequences,
Well,
individually and
I
together.
appreciate your cooperation and
Sure.
understand with it. You've been more than pleasant to deal with on it, and I've dealt with many people that have the same understanding of things as you do and stuff like that. So let me talk to my officers and see what the plan is here and stuff, and I appreciate your
I
cooperation.
appreciate
with
you,
it. Thank
sir.
you.
You've been
Okay.
cordial with me. You had a good
Well,
rapport with me,
I
and
got
you
no
haven't been
reason why.
forceful in any way.
I got no reason why. So thank you for your cooperation. Give me 1 second, my man. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
okay?
sir.
Thank you. So how would you refer to me as Mr. Valdez or just the man? So I know from my education.
Mr. Valdez.
I don't expect you to say Sergeant Valdez or anything.
Yeah, I mean,
like
even
that.
a judge, right? Like any man, once you take it out of a man has duties and responsibilities, right? So one of those duties and responsibilities would be acting as someone.
Sure.
Right? So a judge is acting as a judge, but he is a man first.
If you're employed in whatever you do, what's your like trade and what do you do that's your specialty as far as employment? Would you be referred to your title of employment? So like if you were a DJ or something at a club,
Absolutely not.
So how do you
Absolutely
how
not,
would
because
you
that
do
is
it?
an ability to respond. That is a responsibility that I take on in order to generate currency in this realm. But who I am and what I am is even beyond a man, because the man is I'm only taking temporary possession of my physical body.
But how do you end up doing it? Like how would you classify your job title and stuff like that?
This guy's distracting me. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. If you had a job title, like how would you classify yourself in a job title? To work, if you do you work?
Of course.
Okay, so you do work and you get U.S. currency and all that stuff like that, and you do have to pay taxes. And
Oh,
all that
I don't
stuff
get
like
into all that. I'm not going to get into all that.
Regardless of that, if you have a title, do you
Yeah.
have to put a title? If you go to apply for a job, do you have to adhere to that
No,
title?
I mean that title while I'm operating under that what would be the word here?
But like
in that
if you-
capacity.
if
When
you
I'm
work for a
operating
company, though.
Yeah, when I'm on their clock and
Sure.
I'm taking money from them back to commerce, right? If I'm employed on the roadways, then I'm classified as a driver. So you would
have-
refer to me as a
a
driver.
title, as
But
a
if
driver.
if I'm not taking money to do a service, then I have no classification or title. Which
Well, that's why I
you know,
asked you about it. Like if you
Yeah.
were a DJ at a club and stuff, and you were taking money from.
I'm DJ.
from a club.
I'm
You're the
DJ, jerk off.
Yeah,
you know,
DJ whoever.
on
DJ
Friday
man.
night when I'm taking money and I'm in the club, but I'm still a man first, right?
Okay.
Like
I
I'm
understand.
acting as a DJ, just like we're all acting, in the world. Like Shakespeare said, all the world is a stage. We're all players upon it.
I understand.
You know.
Okay, so you cover your VIN for the purposes of no identification and stuff like that, right?
Well,
Is
I
that
just
why
I
you-
just
why
know
you
the
cover
I
it?
just know the whole routine, and I know that there's always going to be some inroad into trying to build a case. And this vehicle is not stolen. This vehicle's not reported stolen. There's no reason to believe I'm not the owner of it. So I don't believe that anybody has the right to.
Well, but that's the thing. I mean, for us to not the ignition's not punched. You cooperated. You pulled over. Those are uncharacteristics of somebody
course.
who's stolen a vehicle and stuff like that. But I mean, through and I don't want to get into semantics for us. Through our beliefs of what we have and stuff, as far as operating a vehicle on a roadway, it has to be licensed, registered, all the stuff that you already know and stuff. What our beliefs are and what we practice and what we adhere to. VIN has to be present, all that stuff that we have. And
There
everything
also
else
is
like
officer
that.
discretion on all these things.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
if I provide you with an understanding that, leads you to a deeper understanding on your end of what I'm out here
Well,
doing, and I'm not causing any loss,
no, you're
injury,
not.
or harm, then
No, you've
you
been
know,
more than cooperative with me, and that's why they called me over here and stuff so I could talk to you about this, because I'm also fascinated by all this stuff
Sure.
too.
And that's a
I'd
good
love to
thing, man.
speak to you.
It's great to see
Well, I want to
police.
educate myself on it.
But that's the thing. You say it like it's common sense. I've dealt with a lot of officers, and they'll tell me, "Listen, I don't even care what the truth is," and they'll tell me, "You seem like a smart guy. Just do as you're told." I didn't even do that with my own parents. I'm not going to do that with anybody in this realm. I do what the truth leads me to an understanding. Just like the mask thing. I would tell you, take that fucking mask off, man. You're going to make yourself sick with an upper respiratory infection. But these motherfuckers are going to get you sick to have you out here working a job. And we have to comply, because if not, we're going to lose our livelihood. This is where our country's at now. Giving out bad faith health advice.
It is.
You know?
Well, yeah, I would love to have coffee with you.
I'm
Anyway-
sure you would. Because
Anyway.
I know where a lot of you guys stand.
So,
you know, a lot of this shit's bullshit.
Here's the thing, sir. So what I have told my officer, instructed my officer, is, you know, obviously you have your idea of what you're gonna do and what you're focused on and stuff. And I said, well, you know, if he's not gonna identify himself, and you know, we're not gonna issue him a summons or anything else like that. And he's been more than cordial with us stuff. I asked him to get the VIN at least off the vehicle so we could document the VIN on the vehicle, and that's all I asked him to do. But you have the VIN covered up, so that's why he was looking for the VIN, and that's all I was telling him to do. And he was just gonna cut you out of here and get you out of here and stuff.
Okay.
So that's what he wanted to do, and if you're good with it, that's what I'd like him to do, is just grab the VIN so we can get you out of here and get you on your way. And if you'd like my business card, I'll give you my business card, and more than happy to do
Now,
that.
am I
If you're
obligated
open.
to do that?
No, I'm asking you. That's all I'm asking you. I'm
You're
not-
personally asking me.
I'm personally saying, if you're good with it, if you can do the VIN and get my officer out of here, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, and what's
That's
the
up to you,
reason
my
for
man.
that? Just to make sure it's not a stolen vehicle.
That's all I want to do, and I don't believe, like I told you, you're being more than cooperative. You pulled over, which is not common, and the fact that it's not punched or anything else like that. And I understand what your practice.
Now, typically, I just stick with, I don't comply with anything
I
that I'm not
understand
obligated
that.
to. Because
respect
as a man, you're asking me to do you a favor to make sure this vehicle is not stolen, I will do so. However,
appreciate
as a man, if something comes to that after what you just told me, because you are going to cut me loose, you're not going to give me any summonses.
I'm not going to pull you out of a car. I'm not going to take you to Jefferson County Jail. I'm not going to do anything.
You're
like
not
that.
going to give me any tickets or any summonses.
No, we're not. We're just going to grab the VIN.
Okay,
If you're good with that.
that's fine.
Are you okay with my card?
Sure.
All right, I appreciate
And
it.
if you ever want to get together on personal time and have a conversation, I'm more than open and willing to do that. As a matter of fact, I look at it as a duty and a responsibility as an American to educate or to help, not even educate, I don't want to bring it to an ego thing, but to bring more understanding together to who and what we are doing here. You know, what our shared role in being Americans is.
Is it the concept for the about? Does it all fall under anything like British law or anything else like that? too?
That's
The
part
Congress
of,
British law.
again, this
Not
stuff
recognizing
gets
it?
very circuitous, and there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of little things that you have to, little rabbit trails you have to go down. But part of this whole thing, right, stems from the birth certificate, where when there was, and we're going to go through this again, they're calling it the Great Reset now. We're going to have an economic collapse the same way they did the first time, 1917 Spanish flu. They put everybody in masks. Majority of the deaths, the NIH.gov has concluded. Fauci wrote a paper on it. Majority of the 1917 100 million Spanish flu deaths came from wearing masks, from secondary bacterial infections, breathing in your own bacteria all day. They did this once already 100 years ago. We had a Great Depression. They came in with a system, birth certificate, social security number, where the government promised everybody benefits and privileges in exchange for their rights. And all they had to do was be given a number and a secondary name.
What about the vaccine? Totally against it?
Absolutely.
So if you were to
Bill
walk,
Gates said in 2015 there's going to be an outbreak under the Trump administration. We're going to use vaccines to sterilize and depopulate people. He said it in TED conference. These are not my conspiracy theories. These are these psychopaths right out of their own mouths.
what about like, so with you, obviously you go shopping and stuff to get stuff and everything. And do they confront you when you don't wear your mask or anything? Do they confront you when you don't wear your
Yeah,
mask?
they do.
So
you know, but
is it all cool though? You go in and they don't say anything?
I converse with them the same way that I talk to you. You know, I try to be loving, I try to be compassionate, I try to be faithful, and I try to deliver them a message that touches their spirit.
Okay.
So that they can open their mind and heart to the truth that we're all supposed to be experiencing here.
Yeah, that's fascinating stuff. Okay, well, I appreciate you talking to me about it and stuff like that.
I appreciate you having a care in your heart, man. There's not many people nowadays who care for anything, let alone truth and what's right.
It's a crazy world right now,
Absolutely.
as you know.
Absolutely. And that's why we need to do our due diligence and we need to be vigilant as far as serving truth. Because we can serve our belief systems, our egos, our careers, all this nonsense. If we don't serve the one truth, we're all going to lose it all soon, sir. We're going to lose our economy, our currency, which is a fiat currency backed by no gold and silver. It's losing its value day by day. They're moving over to electronic currency. There's a reason for all this stuff. This is not conspiracy theory. This is big corporations, big business, certain big banking, central banking, cartels.
Bitcoin, VMO.
Bro, it's all connected. You know, you see the internet censorship now. You see the left-right division in the politics. You got Black Lives Matter. You got supposed right-wing racists. It's all divide and conquer, man. They've been doing it since back to Rome. These are intergenerational banking families. Let me give you one more thing. Go look it up. Bridget d'Avignon. She was 12 years old. She went down in Guinness Book of World Records, the first historian to find out that all the presidents except for one are blood related back to one king. Okay? A king of France. All the presidents except for one. And this is all verified by mainstream media.
What is it, Bridget?
Bridget d'Avignon. And then you can search up 12-year-old presidents related as keywords. And it will pop up on YouTube. Might be kind of hard to find now, but it should still be up there. I gave it to someone last week. She went through all the genealogy and proved that all of our presidents except for Martin Van Buren are linked to one king. So you explain to me how we're out here voting and we have a right to vote and we're choosing. How could they all be related to one king?
Do you believe in email and stuff, or no? You don't do it?
I mean, yeah, why not?
Would you be willing to email me stuff?
Sure.
Can I put my email on there?
Absolutely.
From the card that I gave you?
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, man. I don't think I have my email.
And see, this is what we're out here doing, and I'm not.
It's right there, actually. Never mind.
This is a good officer, and I want to put this officer on camera. This is Ricky Valdez. They just pulled me over. No license, no plates, no nothing, but that's fine because you don't need that to travel from point A to point B. And this man was willing to listen to me and understand what I was saying, and he could tell that I'm not up to no good out here, you know. And this is what the human experience is supposed to be about.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
You have a good day, my friend. You take care of yourself.
I appreciate you, Mr. Valdez.
Thank you. Be safe, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's how you do it, folks. That's how you do it right there. And I hope all you motherfuckers, look, I can't get this window up now. I'm all nervous and shit. But I hope all you motherfuckers are watching. I hope you're all watching, okay? All you people who told me that go ahead and try that shit with the police and see what they do. Well, I just tried it. No license, no registration, no insurance, no nothing, okay? They told me many times that the first guy, we're going to arrest you, we're going to do whatever. No, whatever. Stick to it. Stick to your fucking truth. Supervisor came, he said, we're not doing anything. We're not going to summon you. We're not going to do anything. You seem to know what you're talking about, okay? Then he asked me as a man, can I see your VIN? Because I have it covered up. As a favor, can I see it? I normally don't do that. I said, you know what? You can read my VIN to make sure that my car is not stolen. Okay, but I didn't even need to do that. He said, you're not even obligated to do that. But as a man, he gave me his word, and I showed it to him. So here we are. The cops are going to let me go right here on Colfax in Colorado. No license, no registration, no insurance, no nothing, because I don't need any of that to travel from point A to point B. The Supreme Court has ruled on it. So now I'm going to post this video. And I hope everybody enjoyed it. And I'm feeling good about myself right now.
Peace. Check this out. Common Law Handbook. For jurors, sheriffs, bailiffs, and justices. We need to learn law by studying law so we can enforce law. Common law is common sense. The question each jurist must ask himself or herself is there an injured party? There is a common law principle which states that for there to be a crime, there must first be a victim, corpus delicti. The state cannot be the injured party. Keep that in mind. In the absence of a victim, there can be no crime. This is what the grand jurist must discover. New World Dictionary. Corpus delicti. Body of the crime. The facts constituting or proving a crime. Not what you know, is what you can prove. Material substance or foundation of a crime. The corpus delicti in a murder case is not just the body of the victim, but the fact that the victim has been murdered. So in conclusion, according to common law, which is the supreme law of the land, the Constitution, if there is no victim, there can be no crime. Corpus delicti. So again, let me ask you the question. When police pull us over or pull you over, did you commit a crime? You didn't commit a crime. Something for you to think about. When you go to the court, the tribunal, and they say the state versus whatever your name is, according to common law, the state cannot be the injured party. See the game? Study, study, study. Learn this law, enforce this law, because they're not going to tell us that this is law, that we have the people are the power. Governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the governed. That means the people have the power and always did. Study, study, study. Islam.